The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
Donna Adelson has caused immense devastation and an untimely, undeserved murder through her actions. While no trial or verdict can ever heal the profound wounds caused by Dan's murder, justice must be served.
I ask the court sentence Donna Adelson to the maximum possible sentence. And my only short question to Donna, was it worth it?
All eyes are on Florida today as Donna Adelson is back in court for her sentencing. So what can we expect from the matriarch mastermind? Plus, will Thanksgiving look a little different for daughter Wendy? Well, that's what one insider is telling us. Our power panel weighs in on whether Wendy will be indicted soon. Also this hour, we're spotlighting alleged killer Corey Richards. The grief author now accusing his sister-in-law of paying witnesses. And unshackled with street clothes? That's what Charlie Kirk's accused assassin wants for his future court dates. So could it tip the scales of justice? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Monday morning to you. Welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We've got a wonderful show planned for you. I missed you over the weekend. Let's do it as we always do. Have you grabbed that cup of coffee right now? It's time for my opening statement. How fitting that Donna Adelson will be sentenced today during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I know this wasn't intentional, but it is a beautiful thing that Professor Dan Markel and his family will get this justice during the month in America that draws the most attention to an issue that plagues us all. Domestic violence affects people of every socioeconomic class, every educational level, every sex, every race, people of every religion. Everyone is affected by it. And with the murder of Dan Markel, even though his death was caused by gangbangers and two Adelsons that we're sure of who paid them, the animus behind that sinister plot came from the soured relationship between Wendy and Dan. The murder for hire plot was to exert power and control over Dan Markel. Power and control are what domestic violence is really all about. Now, we know Wendy was the big loser of the custody battle, and two of her family members wanted her to win the dirty way. But they all lost. Two of them we know will never see the light of day, and it's still possible that the other two may join them if they're indicted. We'll see. So, today, as we get ready to send our prayers, our thoughts, our good wishes to the Markel family as they endure yet another court hearing, let's also note the significance of the timing of this sentencing. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
I cannot feel remorse for something I had absolutely nothing to do with. Teresa is my soulmate. I will miss her and cherish our memories until we are reunited in heaven. Until then, I will fight this wrongful conviction until I am proven innocent and set free to rejoin my family.
Remember him? So the first trials we had at Court TV after we relaunched, Mark Severs. Yeah, that defendant, he's back in court today. He's fighting to have his conviction and his death sentence overturned. You may remember we aired this trial in 2019 when the network relaunched. Severs was found guilty of hiring two men to murder his wife, Teresa. His hearing is going to get underway this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We will bring you updates today on Court TV Live. In Wisconsin, we've got the caught in the crossfire murder trial for defendant Parise Larry. This resumes this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And, of course, we have for you the case I was just talking about, the sentencing for Mama Donna Adelson. It kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern. We will bring it to you live. And that is, of course, your top story this morning on Opening Statements. Let's discuss what we can expect today. Mama Donna facing a mandatory life sentence for the first-degree murder of her former son-in-law, Dan Markel. So the question really is, are we going to see some emotional impact statements today, perhaps from the Markels? We all remember Phil Markel speaking out in the courtroom right after the guilty verdict.
In the Jewish custom, we have an expression to always wish others to live to 120 years of age. For Donna, I wish her to live to 120, alone in her jail cell. I wish that every day of her remaining days, she thinks about the harm she has caused to so many, especially those 2 boys she claims to have loved so much. For these reasons, Your Honor, I ask the court sentence Donna Adelson to the maximum possible sentence. And my only short question to Donna, was it worth it?
What a moment that was. So, will Donna give a statement today? She's going to be afforded that opportunity. Will she take it? Let's take some predictions now. Send us yours on social media. I want to bring in our legal eagles. Good morning to Jessica Mashali and Mario Gallucci. Wonderful to have you both on the program today. So what do you think? Is Mama Donna going to talk? Jessica, start us off, please.
You know, it's so hard to know. I was kind of surprised she didn't testify. I think that her only shot, which it was a small shot, but her only shot at that trial was to have testified. If there is some truth inside her that she is not responsible, she should have come out and said that, and she would have come out and said that. So will she speak today? I'm not sure how it can help, because anything other than remorse will have no impact on the court. She's probably already thinking about her appeal. And so anything she says here can and will be used against her. So she cannot express any remorse. So I'm not sure what the point of her statement would be. I think she might stay silent.
Appreciate it, Jessica. All right, Mario Gallucci, we want your prediction. What do you think?
I agree with Jessica. There's no win for her here. I mean, there's nothing she could possibly say that's going to change the sentence. I mean, she's looking at a minimum of life in prison, and then she was convicted on other counts. And those counts could run consecutive. So, I mean, there's nothing she could possibly say today that's going to mitigate any of the damage that she's already caused to herself. So I doubt very much that she would say anything. And once again, you know, like Jessica just said, she could say something that could affect an appeal. So I doubt she speaks.
Right. Great insight from you both on that. Let's take a look at what Ruth Markel said after the conviction.
We have had access because of the Markel Act. So as it was passed, it opened up. Wendy had invited us to the bar mitzvah. So we had a little bit of an opportunity to have communications and some visits, but they're highly choreographed. It's not a natural process. We're looking for when we can communicate via email, via phone. We have everything is done still through Wendy's devices, let's call it, and time frames. So we're looking for a more natural opportunity.
Oh, that question was in regards to whether they have a relationship with the grandkids. How sad this is, that this whole nightmare, this criminal plan, the plot, the sinister nature of it all harmed those kids so much that they don't get to know these lovely people who have just, I mean, minimal contact with them. They've seen them from what we've heard from folks that have come on the show that are close to the Markels. It's not, you know, a daily, weekly, or even monthly thing. It's been seldom, and that's very sad. She mentioned Wendy, which makes me wonder, is anybody going to speak up for Mama Donna? Jessica and Mario both don't think we're going to hear from Donna, but might any other Adelsons speak up for Donna today? Jessica, what do you think?
Hard to say. I think that Wendy loses nothing because she has testified so much and said so much, whether we believe it or not. She has come out and she said it because she had to. So I don't think she loses anything by saying some words for her mom. But again, it all goes back to what can be accomplished. And since nothing can be accomplished here today, I don't see why there would be any risk, why anybody would come forward.
Mm-hmm. Sure. What about Harvey? He stood by his lovely bride, Donna, since, day one. We've seen him in every single day of the trial. He was there with her when she got arrested on the jetway. Mario, what do you think? Is Harvey going to come to the rescue?
I doubt it. I think, he's the dutiful husband. He stood by his wife, but there's nothing, like Jessica just said, there's nothing that can happen in that courtroom today that's gonna be helpful. I mean, if he wants to show his support for his wife, which he's been doing all along the trial, maybe he'll say some nice words, but I don't think there's nothing that's gonna help. She's a regular, like, Ma Barker, this woman. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. I have a clip. This is of Mama Donna Adelson after the verdict, and this is some footage where we see a very different version of her than what we saw in the courtroom. Now that she knows what the final result is, she's not happy. Let's watch.
I know. 117 is in control. Don't stick it inside slide, please.
Oh, she's not taking it well at all. Are things getting real for her? We all know that a prison is way worse than the county jail. I mean, she has not done well in county. So let's talk about what's ahead for her. She's looking at mandatory life on this one. Mario, let me start with you here, please. I don't know how she's going to fare. What do you think?
It's going to be a major adjustment for her, a major adjustment. She's going to have to embrace what her new lifestyle is going to be. There are things she can do while she's in there, classes she could take to deal with the depression she's now going to suffer as a result of being in jail until, she passes. So she better take advantage of the opportunities that she has to make whatever stay she's got in jail as comfortable as possible. But she's going to have a very difficult time in the beginning to the adjustment, very difficult time, especially coming from her socioeconomic background. I mean, this is something that she would never have dreamed of being in. This is a woman who lived a very lavish lifestyle, had the best things in life, and now she's going to be in a cell. So it's going to be a very big adjustment for this woman.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Jessica, let me ask you, please, practicing in Florida, is there a women's prison you're thinking of where she may be sent to? Is there a certain place that may be typical for someone like Donna?
Not that I'm aware of. I can't think of it, but I agree with Mario that she will have a hard time in the beginning. But I actually think that what we just saw from her was a lot of theatrics. There's no way she didn't expect to lose this trial after everything that's happened. What I think is that there'll be motions about her health. She will suddenly have heart attacks and things like that. And there will be motions trying to get her out of custody for those reasons. I see that coming. I don't think she's giving up. I also think that her money helps her in prison, because what I know as a criminal defense attorney is that in prison, you can buy all kinds of things. You can buy a contraband cell phone. You can pay other people to do whatever you want them to do for you. There's a lot you can do with money. So I also think that that's what's coming for her. And I think that she's kind of a ringleader, and we all know what she's capable of.
We sure do. Well, I love that. I love everything you were just saying there, Jessica. Yeah, you got me thinking about what's going to come next, what issues are going to come up. You're right, because it was, I mean, quite frankly, it was ridiculous what she was bringing up in one of those motions hearings about complaining about carbs and her earwax buildup. I mean, how disgusting. Like, she was talking about those things, and it looked like she's really got another thing coming when it comes time for the prison sentence. She is not going to do well. Here's what we'll do. We'll just take a quick break, and we're going to talk more about Mama Donna and Wendy Adelson coming up next. Here we go.
You testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
So will Wendy be indicted by Thanksgiving? Our power panel weighs in. Plus, accused killer Corey Richins going after her sister-in-law, accusing her of paying witnesses. We'll be right back.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Georgia, does Wendy have reason to be worried tonight?
You said that word. That's a bad word.
A bad word.
No W questions.
Worried is a bad word? Well, last time.
Should we say stay tuned? Do we need to stay tuned?
I mean, you can stay tuned.
Let's talk about what's trending in true crime. As Mama Donna Adelson is getting ready to be sentenced today for her crimes, many people are wondering if her daughter Wendy will be indicted next. After all, Donna Adelson was arrested just days after her son Charlie was convicted in the murder plot to kill Wendy's ex-husband, Dan Markel. Wendy reportedly is living in Austin, Texas now with her 2 teenage sons that she shared with Danny. And now some people say she's got a new love interest as well. Florida attorney and friend of the network Dave Ehrenberg made a very bold prediction about daughter Wendy on Friday. Let's listen.
I predict that Wendy will be indicted by Thanksgiving. That's my prediction. I don't have any inside information, but if you watched the trial closely, which you did, you can see that Wendy was a featured player. And after the verdict, the jury foreperson came out and said that Wendy, who was the ex-wife here, deserved to be next.
Dave is the best. Now, to be clear, Court TV has not heard that this is the case, right? And Dave noted that he doesn't have inside information. It's just his thoughts, being someone very close to this case, who's followed the progression of it. And so we'll see. Fair enough. It's a good prediction. Where will Wendy be spending Thanksgiving if she's indicted or if she's not indicted? Let's talk about the odds. What are the odds that she's in jail for Thanksgiving? Let's bring in private investigator Manuel Gomez, celebrity attorney Ben Chu, and criminal defense attorney Jessica Mishali. All right, Manuel, let me start with you. Is Wendy getting indicted before the holiday? Oh, and Manuel's link just went away. We're going to have to wait to get that answer. That's okay. Ben Chu, let me go to you next, please. What do you think? Where's she spending Thanksgiving?
Julie, I don't know about the precise timing, but I do agree that it is likely that she will be indicted in the near future now that Wendy's trial is over and she's been convicted.
Ben, thanks. Jessica, to you next. What do you think about Thanksgiving?
So I agree that she kind of should be arrested and that it's obvious that she played that role. It's just mind-boggling to me the amount of time that's passed and that she hasn't been arrested or indicted. So after a while, you kind of lose faith, and I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the state attorney's office is thinking or what the police are thinking. I just can't believe that it's taken this long. And so I don't have as much hope as the others.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Jessica, and I'm with you. And then let's explore that. You and Ben know very well throughout your careers how different offices handle things differently. And this is not a criticism of that office, because they've done a fine job with these prosecutions. They really have. There's been a tremendous amount of work and dedications. I applaud them. It's not an easy job to do. I also say, just from from knowing how another office runs, one that I worked at, you know, offices run differently, and a more aggressive office might have said at the outset, we're going to indict all of you, and we're going to let the chips fall where they may, and you can all be joined as co-defendants and go to trial and see what happens and who rolls on who. Jessica, does it surprise you at all being in Florida that things have gone this way in that office? Have you seen more expeditious, different prosecutions in other nearby offices?
Absolutely. It shocks me, because what I see in my role as a criminal defense attorney is that the state is constantly charging where I don't think they have enough evidence to charge, where they bring back indictments for first-degree murder, where I don't think that there's enough for first-degree murder. And so I think that they really go hard, and that if anything, they overdo it. They also throw their power around because they have the right to charge, and they love to do that. And they love to push you to plead to something because they have the ability to charge you with something more than what you actually did. So being that that's what I see on a regular basis, this is really, really odd. And in my mind, one of two things happened. One is that there is something major behind the scenes that the rest of us don't know. And two is that somebody screwed up.
Oh, I like that analysis. I like that. Ben Chu, what do you think? I want your comments on that, what Jessica just shared, please.
Julie, I agree with Jessica. I think those are very keen insights. I also think that they are knowing how high profile a case and how it's captured the imagination of the country. I think they are doing it in a very methodical, conservative, brick by brick. And by doing it this way, they were able to take advantage of Wendy's testimony in the other prosecutions. So that may be another factor here.
Oh, that's a really good point, Ben. Thank you for that. Now, we know we never heard Wendy on any wiretaps, at least not until this point. If there are any, we don't know. We have heard her, though, on a podcast she recorded a long time ago, not long after the death of her ex-husband, Dan Markel. Let's take a listen to some of that podcast. It was for a writing class. Here we go.
We married when I was in my mid-20s, when I thought I could cheat the system and marry a man I lacked passionate love for because, hey, didn't that die anyway during marriage? I saw his intellect and big heart and thought he would make a wonderful father for my children. Our marriage dissolved after the children arrived, as the loneliness of being married to someone that didn't view me as an equal crept in.
She even made a distasteful joke during the podcast about when she refers to Danny Markel, who we know is a murder victim, and she says, I don't know if I should refer to him as my late ex-husband because that sounds like latex husband. I thought that was pretty distasteful. Just wanted to mention that. I took a listen to that podcast. It's called Writing Class Radio. If you want to listen to the whole thing, check it out. But I would think there'd be something there maybe these prosecutors can extract from that podcast. I would give it a good hard listen if I were them. Jessica, thoughts on Wendy and what she should be doing right now? Should she be getting a legal team ready?
She should get a one-way plane ticket to a place that doesn't have extradition.
Like mother, like daughter. Not kidding. Kidding.
I don't want to get a call from the bar that is not legal advice. No, that is only a joke.
Just a morning joke.
That is only a joke.
Exactly.
If I were her, I mean, she's not me, right? If it was me, I would be trying to repent and do as many good deeds as I can do and spend every moment mothering my children in the best possible way that I can. I don't know what she really could do at this point to avoid whatever is coming, right? If they're right and she's going to be arrested, there's nothing she can do right now to prevent it. She can just try to enjoy whatever time she has with her children.
Right. Ben Chu, I'd love to ask you about the kids, too, please, because we know these boys are now teenagers. Their dad, sadly, is gone. We know because of this legal mess, they haven't been able to have the relationship with the Markels that they should have had. We know Donna's in lockup. What protections do you think need to be put in place for these boys to make sure they're taken care of if Wendy's indicted?
Well, I think that's really going to be up to the state. And just going back to your comment about the podcast, I thought it was all chilling. You know, her lack of affection for her husband, her cold analysis of why she married him. No wonder that he didn't reciprocate her affection, at least according to her. But I thought that tasteless joke, especially in the context of her children, this is something that her children, when they get older, are going to have to listen to. I just think it is chilling overall.
I'm with you, Ben. That's a good word for it. It really is. It really is. For anybody, again, who wants to listen to that, it's Writing Class Radio, Wendy Adelson, and she really makes it all. It's all about herself, all about Wendy. We'll see what happens. She has not been indicted. She has not been named a suspect. Want to be very clear. No charges, nothing like that. We're just here making some educated guesses. Ben Chu, Jessica Mashali, stand by. Kindly, please, for more legal questions. We're going to hit a break, but before we do that, we have some new developments we want to share with you in the case against Mark Sanchez, the former quarterback, now a criminal defendant. He was booked over the weekend, then released from custody. He's a current analyst on Fox Sports, and he was stabbed after police say that he first attacked a truck driver in Illinois the previous weekend. He's looking at a felony battery charge as well as some lower-level misdemeanor offenses. Sadly, prosecutors say this was all over a parking fight. Sanchez was hospitalized with stab wounds to his upper right torso. This photo is from when he was booked and then released on Sunday. The truck driver seen here in the hospital permanently disfigured in the attack, according to his lawyers. He's not only an alleged victim on the criminal case, but he's also filed a civil action against Mark Sanchez as well. We'll be right back.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Since Eric's death, we have learned and unfortunately are continually reminded that Corey is desperate, greedy, and extremely manipulative. We have watched as Corey has paraded around portraying herself as a living widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother.
Corey Richens' in-laws have been a strong presence in the courtroom ahead of her upcoming murder trial. And this morning, we're spotlighting her defense team's latest motion accusing her late husband's family of paying witnesses. Corey Richens' legal team filed this motion making the claim that Eric, her late husband's sister, Katie, her name is Katie Richens Benson, allegedly failed to comply with a subpoena asking for financial records for Eric's trust, which Katie now controls. Corey Richens' defense team says in their motion that they want to gain access to copies of checks that were drawn out of personal or business checking accounts made payable to any individuals connected in any way to the investigation and or the prosecution of Corey Richens. Okay. Now, her attorneys apparently did provide Richens' defense team with some of the requested documentation. So that's Katie's attorneys, the sister-in-law's attorneys. But they withheld much of what was being asked for. And they're saying that Corey Richens has no right, no legal claim to what she's seeking here. So who's right here? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in someone that's been following this case and writing articles on it for us here at Court TV, our digital producer, Lauren Silver, back on the show. Lauren, good morning to you. All right, you read through the motion. Tell us the gist of it. Kind of give us the boiled down version of what's going on here with this request.
Well, even though they've been separated in court, it's impossible to take away the murder charges from these alleged financial crimes. She is accused of murdering her husband in part because she wanted access to this Eric Richens living trust that has millions of dollars in it. What she didn't know is that Katie, his sister, was made the executor and is in charge of this trust. So she has no access to it, especially while she's facing these charges. But she wants to have all the information about what's going on with this trust because she says that her sister-in-law is basically feeding the prosecution information and trying to incriminate her, even though she says she's completely innocent. So while they were given sort of a bird's eye view of all the financial documents, she wants an annotated every receipt, every check that's gone in and out, because she's saying that at least 2 people who were paid by the trust are now being listed as state expert witnesses.
That's interesting. Do you know in what regard, Lauren, what kind of experts we're talking about here?
So I did dig into them a little bit over the weekend because while they were mentioned at the preliminary hearing, that was a long time ago, and it wasn't notable enough then for me to have much background.
Sure.
So their names are Brooke Carrington and Matthew Throckmorton, not names we've heard before, really. And what I found on LinkedIn is that they both appear to be forensic accountants. So this all does appear to be tied into the financials, but my guess is that they were hired by the trust to look into what was going on inside the financials before all control was handed over to Katie. It doesn't say like what they found. Brooke Carrington was the previous expert. Matthew Throckmorton was brought in as the replacement. So they both functioned in the same capacity, one after the other.
Okay. And so, I mean, and really we know that just because they were paid privately, it seems, to do some work doesn't mean that it's a problem for them to be brought in a criminal case and subpoena. I mean, to me, that if somebody's in the know about something and has valuable information, you know, the state can subpoena them to come on. It doesn't also, we shouldn't assume they're being paid by the state either. We don't know that. So, Lauren, this is interesting. Has the court weighed in yet, or is this kind of fresh?
No, this is fresh. The Richens team has been filing several motions recently. We're not expecting her to go to trial until early next year on the murder charges. They did separate out the financial crimes. There's no date yet set for that. But she is also applying for bail again. You know, I believe it was last week we had the development where she, her defense team now says one of the witnesses has recanted and now says that he'd never sold fentanyl to the housekeeper, and that's allegedly the trail that led Corey to the fentanyl that she used to allegedly kill her husband. So they're saying that the prosecution's case is completely fallen apart. She should be out on bail because she has been in jail this entire time, and it's been over a year now.
Right, Lauren. Yeah, we know she wants bail. Boy, this is fascinating. Thank you so much for digging into that for us and giving us the update this morning on these witnesses. And can't wait to see what the court says. Lauren Silver, thank you much. Let's bring in celebrity attorney. He has much experience practicing in the civil realm, Ben Chu, to weigh in on this. Ben, what are your thoughts on what Corey Richens is saying here, wanting every bit of information that has to do with her late husband's living trust?
Well, hats off, I think, to Richens' defense team. I mean, they've already had witnesses, as Lauren just referenced, about the recantation of one of the key witnesses about her relating to the fentanyl. I think there is something here potentially with the sister-in-law. I mean, there was a violent incident between the two, and I think all of this is designed toward building on the argument of beyond a reasonable doubt. So I think they should keep pushing aggressively and try to influence the judge to weigh in and grant some of these requests.
Sure. The judge is going to have to make a big decision here as to what's discoverable, right, Ben? I mean, where do you draw the line there? If this was about money, as is alleged by the prosecution in Utah, and as Lauren noted for us, then perhaps she does have a right to see where money was going, and if people are coming into the courtroom, if they've received any funds, where's the substantiation that the funds are for legitimate work? What do you think? Do you think the court's going to be inclined to allow her to see what those checks were to those two expert witnesses?
I do, Julie. I think the court is going to err on the side of allowing discovery because that will lessen the possibility of a successful appeal in the event of a conviction. So if I were the judge, I would, even if he or she were not convinced of it, I would go ahead and allow the discovery.
Yes. Ben, you would make a great judge someday. I don't know if you have any of those aspirations, but you really would. So smart, so thoughtful, great insight. Well, we'll leave it here for now. Ben, stand by for more questions, please. We'll hit a break. When we come back, turning to another big case that people around the world are watching.
I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson. I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out.
Charlie Kirk's accused assassin has a couple requests on what he'll look like in the courtroom for future court dates. Yeah, he wants his jail garb gone and street clothes to be worn for the cameras. Is the court likely to grant that wish? We'll talk about it next.
This is the Court TV podcast.
Gunshots heard near the library at UVU. They're trying to lock the library down now. Still gathering. The CS building is just east of the library. He's wearing jeans, black shirt, black mask, long rifle. We do have officers following the victim to Timpanogos Hospital. 418 copy. How many injured do we have? Just one person.
Let's talk about the man accused in the assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. So this guy is asking to appear in court while wearing civilian clothing. Defendant Tyler Robinson's attorneys are making an argument to the court that he needs to be changed from his jail garb in order to ensure that any prospective jurors who are watching his court appearances won't be tainted by seeing him shackled and dressed in his jail-issued jumpsuit. As you can see, he's wearing here at his most recent appearance. Tyler Robinson's attorneys go on to say in their motion, quote, with each development in the case generating thousands of articles and comments online, the likelihood of potential jurors seeing and drawing conclusions regarding Mr. Robinson's guilt and/or deserved punishment from obvious signs of pretrial incarceration will only increase. The repeated and ubiquitous display of Mr. Robinson in jail garb, shackles, and a suicide vest will undoubtedly be viewed by prospective jurors and will inevitably lead to prospective juror perception that he's guilty and deserving of death. And the motion also references something interesting. References a highly publicized death penalty case in Ada County, Ohio, involving, can you guess? Brian Kohberger. In that case, Kohberger's attorneys, they were successful, if you'll remember, in having him appear at his pretrial hearings wearing a suit, no handcuffs. So should the same be done with Tyler Robinson in Utah? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Mario Gallucci. All right, Mario, what do you think?
So, Julie, it's not really a big ask. This is not your typical trial. This is a trial that, as the defense said, is going to be in the newspaper every day. It's garnering a lot of publicity. What they're asking for is a fair trial. And to perceive him dressed like he is there is not good. It's prejudicial. It obviously shows that he's incarcerated. If he's incarcerated, maybe he's dangerous, and that can affect the perception of the potential jury pool. It's something that I've done in many cases. I've done it in New Jersey. I've done it in New York, where I've asked that they wear civilian clothing, and you give it to Department of Corrections or whatever you have in that state, and then they look through it, and then they provide it to them immediately before they walk into court, and then they take it from them after court. So I think it gets granted. I really do. There's no real reason not to do it.
That's interesting you say that, Mario, and you've had high-profile cases. So it's really not a major inconvenience from what you've experienced, right? It's really not a big ask, as you're saying, that this can be done pretty simply with not a lot of hassle.
Exactly. It's very easy. You bring the clothes, or you bring the clothes to corrections, and then they give it to him right before he walks out into the courtroom. He changes in a back cell, and then he takes them off and goes back to wherever they're housing him. So it's not very complicated. It's not a big ask. The bigger ask is that they're asking that his shackles be removed. That's something that is a much bigger do than just the clothes. So to remove the shackles from him, could cause a problem in a courtroom. Say he decides to bolt, and now this is all over the news. That would affect a potential jury pool. So I don't know if they're going to win on the shackling. I mean, there's many ways around, the shackles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what would you think would be ideal from the defense perspective, Mario? What would be your ask with that?
So I would ask for everything they ask for. You ask for everything, and hopefully you get something. So they're asking for civilian clothing. They're asking for the shackles be removed. They're asking for everything. And the judge, the judge is going to use a balancing act and figure out how we could protect his courtroom and how we could ensure that this young man has a fair trial. And that's what they're trying to do right now. So the shackles may be as I just said, is a bigger ask. I don't know if they're going to win on that, but the civilian clothing should be easy.
Right. Yeah, the judge may split the baby here. Let's take a look at a clip from the judge. This is a newly appointed judge, and he has just taken the bench, or newly elected. I shouldn't even say appointed, because I'm not quite sure if he was elected or appointed to his position, but newly serving on the bench in the community in Utah, and he was assigned this case. Let's take a listen to some of what he shared with the public.
I remain steadfast in my oath that I made 56 days ago to support and defend the constitutions of the United States and of Utah. I will carry out my duties with fidelity, transparency, and impartiality, treating every person who appears before me with the dignity and respect they are inherently due because they are human beings. Let me be clear, I will not put my finger on the scale of justice.
And I just looked it up. He was appointed by Governor Spencer Cox in May. Mario, what did you think of that statement that he made regarding how he's going to handle this case?
That's the way he should handle every case. He wants to be fair. He wants to ensure that this young man gets a fair trial, gets his day in court. People fail to realize that you're innocent until you're proven guilty. So although he's incarcerated right now, that doesn't mean he's guilty of anything. And that's what the lawyers are trying to do here. They're trying to get him a fair trial. And that jury pool is going to be very difficult. I mean, he's on TV almost every single day. And what they want to show is when he's on TV, he's not dressed like that. I mean, what you're looking at there is a suicide vest. So they're being very cautious, the attorneys, in perception. Perception is always a big thing. You don't want your client to be perceived as being in jail. You don't want your client being perceived as somebody who could commit suicide. So they're trying to do the best they can to create a perception that this young man gets his fair trial.
Yes, you're right, Mario. Well said. When we think about Kohberger, I would love to know your thoughts if you think that the way he was allowed to wear suits at every appearance, if that in any way affected his perception.
So, yeah, I mean, it's basically the same case. These aren't your typical cases. When you get one of these high-profile cases and you get the media around it and you're on all the time, there you have to create a perception. It's not your typical case that you see every day going on in courtrooms all over the world. This is a case that the world is looking at. So in Kohberger, too, they wanted to do the same thing, change that perception. And in that case, he struck a deal. And I think that went a long way to get to that resolution in that case without a trial.
Right. Yeah, it sure did. I mean, look, his life was spared, from the defense perspective. As you know, Mario, in a case like that, that's a win, for a defendant like that. I hate that that's how it was resolved, but it was, that's what occurred. And, God bless those victims. Hopefully they feel some comfort with him never getting out of prison. So what we'll do is we'll leave it here for now. We have lots of other cases to talk about on Court TV Live, and Mario Gallucci has cases to win. We got to let him get off to court and start his day. Mario, thank you so much. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on CourtTV.com.